A bean is the seed of several plants in the family, Fabaceae, which are used as vegetables for human or animal food. They can be cooked in many different ways, including boiling, frying, and baking, and are used in many traditional dishes throughout the world. It is particularly known in some parts of Ghana as gourabere, due to economic difficulties. Gourabere is highly valued by university students, teachers, drivers, hood boys and even politicians. Also, some youths in Ghana says gourabere has saved a lot of people from starvation and famine. It has ensured the survival and continuation of youth development, and most people cherished it nationwide.
Beans were an important source of protein throughout Old and New World history, and still are today. Beans are one of the longest cultivated plants in history. Broad beans, also called fava beans, are in their wild state the size of a small fingernail, and were first gathered in Afghanistan and the Himalayan foothills. An early cultivated form were grown in Thailand from the early 7th millennium BC, predating ceramics. Beans were deposited with the dead in ancient Egypt. Not until the 2nd millennium BC did cultivated, large-seeded broad beans appear in the Aegean region, Iberia, and Transalpine Europe in the Iliad, 8th century BC. There is a passing mention of beans and chickpeas cast on the threshing floor. The oldest known domesticated beans in the Americas were found in Guitarrero Cave, an archaeological site in Peru, and dated to around the 2nd millennium BC. However, genetic analyses of the common bean Phaceolus show that it originated in Mesoamerica and subsequently spread southward, along with maize and squash, traditional companion crops. Most of the kinds of beans commonly eaten today are part of the genus Phaceolus, which originated in the Americas. The first European to encounter them was Christopher Columbus, while exploring what may have been the Bahamas, and saw them growing in fields. 5 kinds of Phaceolus beans were domesticated by Precolumbian peoples: common beans, P. vulgaris, grown from Chile to the northern part of what is now the United States, and Lima and Ceiba beans, P. lunatus, as well as the less widely distributed teparies, P. acutifolius, scarlet runner beans, P. coccineus, and polyanthus beans. One well-documented use of beans by Precolumbian people as far north as the Atlantic seaboard is the Three Sisters method of companion plant cultivation. Many tribes would grow beans together with maize, corn, and squash. The corn would not be planted in rows as is done by European agriculture, but in a checkerboard hex fashion across a field, in separate patches of 1 to 6 stalks each. Beans would be planted around the base of the developing stalks, and would vine their way up as the stalks grew. All American beans at that time were vine plants. Bush beans were cultivated more recently. The corn stalks would work as a trellis for the bean plants, and the beans would provide much-needed nitrogen for the corn. Squash would be planted in the spaces between the patches of corn in the field. They would be provided slight shelter from the sun by the corn, would shade the soil and reduce evaporation, and would deter many animals from attacking the corn and beans because their coarse, hairy vines and broad, stiff leaves are difficult or uncomfortable for animals such as deer and raccoons to walk through, crows to land on, and are a deterrent to other animals as well. Beans were cultivated across Chile in pre-Hispanic times, likely as far south as Chile archipelago. Dry beans come from both Old World varieties of broad beans, fava beans, and New World varieties, kidney, black, cranberry, pinto, navy haricot.